If you are searching for more consistency in showing up for your body, showing up for your mind, showing up for yourself, then you are in the right moment right now with me. Hey, everybody, this is Megan Holly, and this is the Magic Made podcast. Welcome. We are talking about the idea that movement is not a punishment. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a time where movement and exercise and all of these things was kind of looked at as something that you had to do in order to be healthy, but it was not fun. It was, just an extra thing in your life, in your everyday that you had to fit in and all of the things. And we never really got a chance to find a joyful side of that. So today we're going to undo some of that. We're going to find some moments to kind of rewire that thought. So if you are somebody who maybe is still struggling with feeling consistent and just caring for the energy in which your body deserves to be moving and enjoying, this will definitely be the episode for you. And if you're already kind of on a journey where you're feeling a little bit more light, you invite movement and joy in a lighter, more effervescent way. Wonderful too. This will just really hone that in for you and just keep it top of mind and hopefully give you a little bit more inspiration on how to continue that journey, just getting better and better and better and better. But I just was thinking back to being a kid, and I grew up dancing and, was an active kid overall, did softball for a few years, and I enjoyed it, right? Like I loved going to dance. I did it my whole life. I still do it. And so I loved it, but there was always this sentiment, this kind of entity of it, if you will, that it was a thing, right? I had to go to it, I had to learn. I was a competitive dancer, so there was check boxes, yeah? And then on top of that, to just invite it into my life in just a more joyful, just off the cuff kind of a thing was non-existent because it was just either that or nothing, right? And to go and move my body freely just for fun wasn't quite the thing that I was experiencing, at least until later in life. And now I'm inviting it in. And so many of us have that feeling that like we have to punish our bodies. We have to do this in order for that to happen, or look like this for us to be accepted, which is the part of that whole side of thing that I cannot and will not bring into life, because that is not true. Everybody is a wonderful body, and that is the end of the story on that. It's more about the joyful movement and getting in that energy release. And you know that I'm all about that. And if you're new here, you'll find out quick that I'm all about that, the energy release that movement brings to us. So if we can move from the idea of, movement and our bodies and punishment and just heaviness, and we can shift over to the idea that all of it is just natural and we can find a new relationship with it, it's going to be a beautiful thing for all of us. And so, look at my lip phone's falling over because it's like movement is good. Oh my gosh, when your set comes alive as you speak. So, one thing that I really want to tap into today is kind of disembodying the over need for structure and rules and the just so's of moving our body, of being and finding ways to healthily create things for our bodies, our minds, our spirits. Yeah. Because so many rules are around it, right? Do this, do that at this time of day for this many minutes, strength train, like all these rules have been placed upon us by society, by people who are trying to market things to us, all of the things. And then we get lost in the shuffle of that. Well, if this is how I do it, then this is the outcome. Or if I feel like that and I want to feel like this, then this is the only way. So let's just kaplooey, just release the need and the identity around rules, overly structured moments, situations, routines, all of that, and let it go. Take a deep breath and just let it go. Because nothing in life is just so like that, right? Yes, there are helpful things and ways to do stuff for ourselves, but there is no hard and fast rule for you to have a body that feels more joy and more health within it. And the structure of all of those little nuances are never going to be the way to get there. Yeah. And so, what is an old story that you have? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. Reach out. Let me let me have a little juicy conversation with you on that because old stories pop up, you know? Old stories pop up for me all the time that, right, that I have a more athletically muscular built body and that's just the only way that I can be categorized. And if I do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna, I'll be strong and this and that, or, if I don't do this or I do that and all the things. I'm not looking for that kind of a vibe anymore. What I'm looking for is, do I feel good in my body? Do I feel healthy in my body? Do I feel joy in my body? That is the only things and the only questions that I am asking these days. And so I hope to invite you into that too. So, what old stories are coming up for you? Yeah. That it has to be hard, maybe. That's another one for me, that it has to be hard and overwhelming, and they have to spend a lot of time in order to feel good in your body, to feel shifts in your body. And by shifts, I mean all of the things. I mean, whatever shifts you want physically or energetically, whatever it is that you're calling into, that's what I mean. And so let that story rip just out of your brain. Like literally, we're going to get a little aggressive with it. We're going to pull it out and we're just going to flick it out. Write it down, rip it up, burn it, all the things. I've got some fun content ideas coming up where we're going to kind of get into that. We're going to get releasing and we're going to do some damage in a good way of these old stories. So let's go. Regina up here, she's always trying to just balk at me with the worst old stories that have nothing to do with where I'm at now or where I want to be right now. And so she's out. Sorry, sister. If you haven't named your mind gremlin yet, you have to. It's the most freeing thing you've ever done. And if you're new here, that's what we do. My mind gremlin is my intrusive, negative, rude thoughts, and her name is Regina. So come along, come and do it. Join in the fun. I promise. It really helps. It really, really helps. So, what we can use for us to make this shift, especially if we're struggling with it, or if we're like a yo yo, where we might do good with it for a while and then we fall into old habits or fall off of the joy train for our bodies and movement and all the things, is that movement is expression, not punishment. So movement is expression, not punishment. And it's a beautiful thing because we dumb down ourselves, our expressions, our emotions, all the things so much, right? It starts young in life. We start out at this fresh little slate where we really don't know. We're unfiltered. We say whatever comes to mind. How many times have you had a kid say something to you, you're like, oh, thank you for that, because they don't realize they're not even trying to be hurtful. Usually it's curiosity or, whatever, but they're just asking the question that's in their head. But over time, it's like, well, don't do that or don't say that. And of course, right, there's social cues that we need to kind of take into account in life. But what I'm getting at is that we've gotten filtered and filtered and filtered and smushed and smushed and smushed so much that we don't even know how to express ourselves, especially when it comes to our body and movement and just kind of our energy and what it needs. We'll sit there and just hole up and be uncomfortable and maybe fidgety and all the things and let that just be our normal and our natural instead of going, wait, there's something I can do about this and I can change it, I can shift it. So it's not punishment, it's expression. It's expression of our thoughts, expression of our wants, what we crave, what we no longer want anymore, all of that. It's a beautiful thing. And that's what movement is and does for us, which is the beautiful thing about it because it's free. It's right there in our bodies. You don't even need anything. Heck, you don't even need you don't need music even. You could just do something. You could just move in whatever way you need and that is expression and it's a beautiful thing. Um we don't have to earn it either, right? We don't have to hit a certain quota. We don't need to earn our rights to do any of this. We don't have to get permission. And that's what makes it so beautiful and so attainable. And if we start to shift this thought in our head that, I am free to do this. I have this one dang body on this one dang life that I have no idea all the roller coasters and the ebbs and flows I'm going to go on. But what I do know is that I can look back with hindsight, which to me, it's not even 2020 because it's still skewed by perspective. But I can look back with it regardless of the perspective or the mindset that we have wrapped around it. And we can choose differently. We can write new pages, right? And It's no different when it comes to expressing ourselves and finding more health and vitality in ourselves and our bodies. So how can you tap into that? How can we really remember that the freedom that we have in this one body is only ours to make? And that's why you see me on my social media just dancing and being silly and being kind of frivolous in a way, because it's my right to do that and it's your right to do that. And it might not look the same and you might not put it on the internet, and that's okay. I get that. I get that. Nobody's asking you to do that. But what I am imploring you to do and asking you to do is find safe spaces. We talked about portals and confidence portals and all that beautiful stuff in the last episode. So can it be part of that for you? Can it just be an innate part of your day? And if you already are inviting that in more, right? And movement doesn't have to be dance, right? It could be whatever it is for you. Maybe it's a sport that you really love, but are we doing it with intention? Are we calling it in? Are we excited for it instead of being punished by it? But I do believe that if we have daily movement, our energy is moving. It's not stagnant. It's not creating pockets of deficit in our bodies and our minds and our spirits, all of it, right? We don't want deficit. We want to be fully us. We want to be fully who we are meant to be. And to express that is literally the most beautiful thing I've ever really thought to bring to life, you know? Um, Lower your barriers. This is really going to be pretty much everything. Lowering your barriers and your expectations of what this has to look like. If you're maybe on a fitness or wellness journey and you think, oh my gosh, I have to have it be just so, I have to do, 45 minutes a day, at least 4 days a week, and like all these things, we're getting back into punishment mode. We're getting back into such rigid matter that we can't necessarily always be successful in that. Maybe some people do thrive on consistency of that caliber. Yes, we want consistency, right? I've already tapped into that. But what kind of consistency is it and how are you framing it is the more important factor. Think about that again. If you need to rewind, right? What is consistency to you? How are you framing it? And how is it like creating this space for us? This connection, right? The little connective piece that's putting it all together. Yes, consistency is key in one respect, but open fluidity through that is more important, because when we get too rigid is when we're going to fall off of feeling good. What? We don't want to do that. How many times have you been in a season where you're like, this sucks so bad? It's so heavy. It's so hard. It's so this, that, and the other. And can you look around the room in your brain at that day, that season, that moment, that relationship, that thing that is coming to mind for you that really just sucked hard? And what were you doing? Were you giving yourself outlets? Were you finding more joy in your body? Were you releasing through movement? I know for me, okay, maybe there was times when was having a hard season, but I was still kind of doing my things that I know are good and using my tools and resources. But was I really, really believing in the power that they had? Mm, Most likely not. Was I really allowing the space for it to flow if I needed to make it feel a little different or look a little different? Probably not, right? So that's the difference. That's the little switch that goes on that makes it more of an experience. It makes it more of just a movement, literally and figuratively, and less of I have to, right? We get to do any of the things that we get to do, right? Even the most mundane of the things, doing the laundry and going to work and all the things, we get to do that. What the alternative is that we don't experience any of this life. And to me, we're just missing out on the opportunities, right? At that point. And so there's better ways to move about the situations that come up to hand and release that through our bodies and through our movements and enjoying that process. Heck yeah. Yes, we love that. We love to hear it. So what is it for you? What is joyful movement for you? What is consistency look like for you in that? For me, my morning routine has become so evident. So evident in the last 3, 4-ish months, especially. Just if I don't do it, I feel different. And sometimes I'll do it later in the day or whatever. And it's like I can see and feel and just notice the shift. And for me, it's the vibration plate. It's usually doing a little bit of cardio or arm work with some weights, and 100,000%, if nothing else, if I have no time, it's putting on my one song and dancing. So what is that for you? Are you allowing that to not just be hard? And if we're gonna pick one thing, right? Consistency or intensity, which is more important, right? It might be different for everybody. At first, I was gonna think the thought like, oh, well, consistency is probably more beneficial than intensity. But is it? I don't know. That could be different for everybody. I would say that having consistency in the way that you think about something and the way that you think about inviting in good, healthy habits like this is more important than the intensity of it. Because when we get too intense, like, again, going back to that rigidity, that's when we kind of fail in anything in life, right? Not just this. So answer that for yourself. See what's coming up. And if you have some thoughts on it, I would love to hear it because it's intriguing me. And I wish we were live right now so I could actually but the beautiful thing is we have comments and all the things and we can chit chat about it. But to me right now in this season, consistency and flow are more important than the intensity. Like it has to be such a certain way or feel or look, just so. So answer that for yourself though and see how that moves you. Um and of course, right? I've made this my own. If you have been in my world for any bit of time, you know that I've brought this in and made it my own. So make it your own now. What is it, right? We move our magic. We do our daily dose of dance. We shake and shine now on the vibration plate. We've got all these little things that have helped me to stop saying no to myself and start showing up for myself. Somehow, anybody watch Real World back in the day? The tagline of that whole show just almost popped out of my brain. And I was like, I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not going to say it. But like, start getting, I forget I don't know. I'll remember. I'll pop it in the comments. But we have to allow ourselves to take that down, that wall down, and start just getting real with what is good for us, body, mind, spirit, and soul. So I know we talk a lot about this in this community, but time and time again, the conversations around it continue to flow and we continue to want more of it. And so I wanted to touch base on it in another episode in this light of what are we calling in? How are we replacing old stagnant stories, and why and how? Well, what is our why, more importantly? And then how are we making that come to life and be the most beautiful thing? Because right now I almost can't even imagine, and it was only like 4 or 5 months ago when I was being consistent with it, but still missing some pieces, if that makes sense. Just recently in these 4 months, I've really layered in more that feels even better, that I'm more apt, even on the worst of moments and days, to do it kind of in spite of the shitty feelings that I might be having. You know what I mean? So get to that point, it's like it's a good moment. You know you're gonna be like, I'm still doing this. I don't care. It's not going to the wayside. I'm not leaving it out to dry. It is part of who I am. So how can we all get there together and keep growing and evolving in this process together, hand in hand, and just keep rising within this, because I think if the world at large, if collectively we were all doing more intention like this with our bodies and our movement, I think we could get out of some of this heaviness that we feel just intrinsically deep down from the world around us, from our own old stories, right? I think we'd be happier. I know we'd be happier because we've gotten to a point in society where it's all so harsh, heavy, and a lot of times just downright negative, that it's no wonder that a lot of us are suffering and not doing the things that are just so human. Yeah. So come on and human with me and let this week be a reminder to tap into it, to have fun and flow and enjoy that beautiful body and mind and spirit of yours. Let it run free and call in some things that you can find a little bit of fluid consistency in and enjoy the process. Don't forget, if you are new here or you just haven't got around to it yet, which what are you doing? Why have you not yet? To make sure you like and subscribe this video, follow wherever you are listening or watching. Just, make sure that you're getting the notifications every time an episode comes up, because I love hanging out with you, and it is literally the favorite thing of my community is just being here with you through this. And don't forget to look for magic, look around, find the sunbeams, find the rainbows, find a little weird shadow on the floor. The other day I was walking, and the way my window was hitting a plant, I saw like the reflection of the plant on the floor, and I was like, why do I want to go grab a paintbrush and like paint the silhouette on my floor? I did not do that, but it sounded like a really good idea. So find your magic, look around, remember that that's your little reflective moment, literally and figuratively, to stop for a moment, take a beautiful, big, deep breath, which do that right now as well if you haven't, and just enjoy, soak in that moment, soak in that magic, and recalibrate if you need it in that moment. So I will see you all next time.